From the fabulous Kingdome in Seattle, Washington, in America's Pacific Northwest, NBC Sports presents the 50th Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The All-Star Game, it is now, always has been, baseball's player showcase. Just as the first game spotlighted Babe Ruth, so tonight in the 50th game will stars like Mike Schmidt vie for center stage. This is the game that has always let the stars shine, from the great Willie Mays to the incomparable Pete Rose. This is the game for baseball's most successful performers. This is the game for baseball's most famous people. This is the game for baseball's most popular players. It's a once-a-year gathering for show, a night of honor for the best individuals of a team game. Tonight, the stars of baseball are literally under one roof for the 50th edition of baseball's All-Star Game. Inside the Kingdome, over 58,000 fans, almost 500,000 square feet of space, and absolutely 56 of the best baseball players on earth all assembled for the 50th All-Star Baseball Game. Hello, everybody. I'm Bryant Gumbel. Welcome to Seattle, Washington, and the fabulous Kingdome, where we are assembled for a once-in-a-summer happening. This, the Baseball All-Star Game, the 50th edition of such. You know, all week long, people have been talking about the dimensions of this park, and they've been talking about the National League streak. Well, we're going to allow that to be handled by Joe and Tony and Tom. In this show, we're going to keep our eye on the All-Star past, on the All-Star present, and the mythical halfway point that this game represents. We're also going to take a peek into the future, and we're going to get to all of that right after we come back from this commercial break. Perhaps the reason baseball is loved in this country more than any other game, well, actually, there are a couple of reasons. One is because it is so much a part of our heritage, and another because the mystique surrounding the game is so fabulous. And from that, you cannot separate the All-Star Game. It's got its own lore, in part because the unforgettable stars of the game have always participated. Appropriately enough, the first All-Star Game hero was baseball's premier hero, Babe Ruth. His two-run homer in the 33 game gave the American League a 4-2 victory at Comiskey Park. The next year, it was a pitcher who stole the show. Carl Hubbell struck out 5 Hall of Famers in succession: Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin. This man, Ted Williams, earned his place in All-Star history. In 1941, he finalized a 7-5 game with a 2-out, 3-run homer in the ninth. After providing All-Star fans with the unexpected, he gave them the unforgettable just 5 years later. Rip Sewell was the pitcher in 1946, and his eephus pitch may have come from the heavens, but it bedeviled the hitters. All the hitters except for Ted Williams. He timed an eephus, and when he rode it out, he rode himself into All-Star baseball history. In 1950, Red Schoendienst ended a marathon and reversed a trend. This homer in Chicago not only provided a finish for a 14-inning game, but also signaled an end to a period of American League domination and All-Star play. Red's teammate, Enos Slaughter, stole the show just 3 years later. In '53, he made the defensive play of the game and robbed Harvey Keene. A 47-year-old youngster named Satchel Paige made his only All-Star appearance in that game, but the party was Slaughter's. His single, driving home Roy Campanella, provided the margin of victory. Talk All-Star play, and you've got to talk about Willie Mays. Over the years, he set All-Star records for at-bats, stolen bases, hits, and runs. He also set the tone for a style of aggressiveness that has led to National League domination of recent All-Star games. Never was that spirit of aggressiveness more in evidence than in 1970. The runner, Pete Rose. The obstacle, Ray Fosse. The result, a historic collision and a 12th-inning National League win. Remember a younger, Oakland-garbed Reggie Jackson in '71? What a shot he hit in Detroit. On the way up, the ball hit the light tower on the right field roof. Reggie's was the most dramatic of a record-tying 6 home runs hit in that game. Great plays, real effort, fans got both in one play in '74. Joe Rudy's sliding grab left little room to question All-Star desire. Last year, the scene was San Diego. The victory of the National Leagues, the MVP, Steve Garvey. He brought All-Star history up to the present by becoming the first man ever to win the Commissioner's Trophy twice. Well, you're up to date on the All-Star past. Before we step aside, a look at the future and at the present. And we'll do that after this. We're at the Kingdome in Seattle awaiting the start of the 50th All Star Game, and even as we do, we're reminded that exactly 1 year from today, NBC will be in Moscow for the 22nd Olympiad. And from time to time, and as part of our total commitment to those Olympics, we've been bringing you features on what has happened and what is happening within the Olympic movement. With that in mind, a timeout now for this Olympic moment.
This Olympic moment is brought to you by the Bell System Yellow Pages. When you want to know who, what, where, when, why, let your fingers do the walking through the Bell System Yellow Pages.
October 18, 1968. The place, the Estadio Olímpico, Mexico City. The situation, the final of the long jump. One of the finalists, Bob Beamon of the United States. He jumped poorly in the qualifying round, making it to the final on his last attempt. Each finalist has 6 jumps. Bob Beamon is ready for his first attempt. An incredible roar as Beamon lands. The officials measure the distance. Finally, the loudspeaker blares forth the announcement. 8 meters 90. Again, the crowd roars. Bob Beamon is confused. He is not certain what this distance means in feet and inches. Finally, he is told. 29 feet, 2.5 inches. In an event where records are set by infinitesimal parts of an inch, Bob Beamon has broken the world record by 1 foot, 9 3/4 inches. Bob Beamon wins the Olympic gold medal on his first attempt. Even more, he has turned in one of the greatest individual achievements in the history of the Olympic Games.
All right, let's catch up. We talked about that we'd look at the past and we'd look at the future and how we'd have a look at the present. Well, we have, in fact, had a look at our past, and at this point, I think it's time to confess we've cheated a bit on the future, but we do think we perhaps have some future major leaguers in the group in the finals of the pitch, hit, and run competition. They were played on this field today, and as you can see, the youngsters were enthusiastic, and there was a bit of talent out there, too. This is actually a 3rd year of the program that does involve 500,000 children in this country. They get 3 chances to pitch a ball at 46 feet away at a target. And each time they put it in the target, they get some points. Hitting the ball fungo style, they also get 3 chances. This one is based on pure distance. Guess they want to have a lot of Jim Rices and not too many Pete Roses. And then there is the running competition. Running from home to first, 90 feet, and it's time that when some major leaguers flunked that test. Anyway, over 500,000 children participated. It started way back in May. District competition and then division competitions held in 12 major league ballparks, at which the winners earned their uniforms from their district. Making the presentations today, Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, Chris Schonlob, the Executive Vice President of Burger King, John Davis, the Executive Director of the National Recreation and Park Association, and C. Carson Conrad, the Executive Director of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports. Our winners, 9-year-old Jay Gwynn, our runner-up, Mike McCune of Des Moines, Iowa. 10-year-old division, John Giordano of West Patterson, runner-up Mike Default of North Connecticut. 11-year-old, our first female winner, Crystal Fields, Cumberland, Maryland, the runner-up Kevin Perry of Straw Plains, Tennessee. And Matt Duran was the 12-year-old winner from Flagstaff. Jim Bricker of Muskegon, Michigan was our 12-year-old runner-up. Okay, that's our look at the future, but we also said that what the All-Star Game is all about, really, is a mythical halfway point in the season. And at that, this has been a strange season. All you have to do is look at the league leaders and note that they are the Astros, Expos, Orioles, and Angels. They don't have many representatives here. Truly, 79 has been a changing wheel of fortune in baseball.
Gonna be a long, long time before it play the game. And I know there's no reason till I go on searching just the same.
Fortunes have changed in favor of certain individuals as well as teams in '79. One enjoying the change is 40-year-old Lou Brock. This is his final season. He's among the league leaders in hitting. In the American League, Roy Smalley's fortunes have been just as surprising. A lifetime .251 hitter, he enters tonight's game hitting a healthy .341. Fortune has smiled broadly, too, on one Mr. Dave Kingman. Throughout this season, he's led the major leagues in home runs until recently, when he was passed by the Philadelphia hitter, Mr. Mike Schmidt, who in one power-filled weekend took over the home run lead and moved in close behind the major's year-long RBI leader, Don Baylor. It's half a season down. For the four on top, it is indeed a very long way to go. 49 editions of the All-Star Game down. The 50th is coming up, the moment at hand. We'll come back with some final notes right after this.
Hi, I'm Ron Guidry, pitching in with Burger King to congratulate the winners of this year's pitch, hit, and run competition. We saw a lot of good pitchers, a lot of powerful hitters, and a lot of fast base runners. Burger King is proud of all the boys and girls who participated. You're all winners. Pitch, Hit, and Run is the official youth program of Major League Baseball. Don't forget to sign up next spring.
It's getting to be time, 50th All-Star Game. The game plan is simple. Try to win it. And the National League has been doing a lot of that lately. The last 7, 15 of the last 16, 26 of the last 32. This game is for you, the fans. Sit back, relax, and enjoy it with Joe and Tony and Tom. It's to come. It's Nolan Ryan against Steve Carlton, and we'll be joining the game in just a moment, right after we break away for this NBC News update and our messages from our local station.
NBC Sports presents the 1979 All-Star Game from Seattle's Kingdome. It's the All-Stars of the National League versus the best of the American League. The 1979 All-Star Game is brought to you by Chrysler Corporation. See the mileage makers at your Dodge or Chrysler Plymouth dealers. And by the newest member of Gillette's All-Star Team, foamy tropical coconut shave cream. Every shave is like a trip to the tropics. And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Polaroid, makers of the SX70 Sonar, the world's smartest camera. This is the Kingdome. You're looking at the top of the Kingdome, and it is loaded with all-stars and loaded with excitement. It is described as a hitter's ballpark. As you look down the left field line, 316 feet. Towards center field, 410. We look at the power alleys, 357. It is a hitter's park. Look at that stat. 1979 home runs at the Kingdome, 131 in 54 games played. It should be an exciting night. Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Garagiola alongside Tom Seaver. Yes, the emphasis is on hitting, and that's all we heard. That's all we saw. They were hitting them out of here like shots, launching them. In fact, I thought Lou Brock said it best during batting practice yesterday when he said, I found myself doing things I hadn't done in a long time, taking everything deep in batting practice. They weren't satisfied with just hitting them in the seats. How far could they hit them? So they are really putting on a power display in batting practice. Will that happen in the ball game? And Tony, with that lineup, I gotta believe it will.
Well, Joe, there has been an emphasis on power because both teams are power-laden. Some people feel maybe there's too much emphasis on power, and I'm sure the pitchers are some of them. If people came out here today before the ball game and had the chance as we did, you saw these three men power the ball to all parts of this ballpark. They are the National League starting outfield, Winfield, Foster, and Dave Parker. They also have on this starting lineup Mike Schmidt, the Major League's home run leader with 31. On the other side of the diamond, well, Freddie Lynn, an MVP in 75. His partner, Jimmy Rice, last year's MVP. Also in that lineup, a man who will finally get his chance to show the kind of player he is, Don Baylor. But, Joe, I've got to believe that if this is going to be a big scoring ball game, the little guys are going to have to get on to be driven home by the big guys. I also noticed one other thing yesterday and today. The pitchers are very quietly steaming because they've had to shag a lot of those balls.
Well, I tell you what, the pitchers are not locking themselves in the clubhouse. They're going to be out there. And, Tom, what about it from the pitcher's standpoint? What would you do hearing all this about the hitting?
Well, certainly, Joe, you got to think at an all-star game, the pitching has got to be up to par with the hitting. I'm telling you what the National League is going to have to face. They're going to have to face the best fastball probably to come into the Major Leagues since Sandy Koufax. Nolan Ryan can officially get at the home plate. Overpowering fastball, outstanding curveball. If he does have a problem, he has a problem with wildness based on balls. But he is probably the most overpowering pitcher in baseball today. For the National League, a real veteran, Steve Carlton, has been the workhorse for the Philadelphia Phillies for the last 2 years. A two-time Cy Young Award winner, a real good fastball, and a nasty slider. His outpitch is going to be a slider. He'll be throwing it down and in to those right-handed hitters on the American League. Two fine pitchers starting for both teams tonight.
Okay, well, I once heard a Pittsburgh pitcher, Bob Veal, say something I can never understand. We might get the answer tonight. He said, good pitching will stop good hitting, or vice versa. We'll see tonight. Right now, let's find out about these players. We go to the public address announcer, Gary Spinell.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet the participants in this 50th All-Star Game. First, the stars from the National League. Here's the man who led the Los Angeles Dodgers to 2 pennants in his first 2 years, National League manager Tom Lasorda. Our first All-Star player won the starting catching assignment, but a broken wrist will sideline him tonight. From the St. Louis Cardinals, catcher Ted Simmons. Batting first, playing at second base, one of baseball's finest infielders, the Dodger captain, Dave Lopes. The most valuable player in the National League last year from the Pittsburgh Pirates, right fielder Dave Parker.
Dave Parker is the franchise, a complete player. Tell you, hear about his hitting and tremendous power, but he's a great defensive player with a strong arm. And plays like this one are pretty common for Dave Parker, the franchise.
Hitting third, 2-time All-Star MVP from the Los Angeles Dodgers, first baseman Steve Garvey.
Garvey was the most valuable player last year's All-Star game at San Diego. In 5 All-Star games, he has hit .500. Many consider Garvey the most reliable player in the National League. He plays every day. He's usually in the middle of all the Dodger rallies, and while the Dodgers are crumbling, Garvey just goes on and on with his consistency.
Hitting cleanup, the Major League home run leader with 31 from the Philadelphia Phillies, Mike Schmidt.
Well, the epitome of a streak hitter, a hot hitter in the National League is Mike Schmidt. And then when he's hot, he is really on fire. He recently set a Major League record, hit 4 home runs in a row. Great power to all fields, can hit the ball out any part of the ballpark.
Batting fifth, playing in left field, the National League's Player of the Month in April and June. He's on his way toward a record-breaking 4th consecutive RBI title, the Cincinnati Reds' George Foster. The current National League leader in total bases from the San Diego Padres, center fielder Dave Winfield. Hitting 7th, Philadelphia's fine catcher, Bob Boone. Batting 8th, now a 5-time All-Star, Philadelphia's shortstop, Larry Boa.
This might have been the toughest position you fans had to vote for in the National League, but day in and day out,
Bo is the most consistent shortstop in baseball. He owns the highest lifetime fielding percentage for a shortstop in Major League history, and last season he made just 10 errors.
The pitcher now warming up at the bullpen, a two-time Cy Young Award winner, Philadelphia's Steve Carlton. Introducing the remainder of the National League All-Star squad. The National League coaches, Philadelphia manager Danny Ozark. And from Pittsburgh, manager Chuck Tanner. The National League trainer from the San Francisco Giants, Joe Licio. Representing the Atlanta Braves, outfielder Gary Matthews. From the Chicago Cubs, pitcher Bruce Sutter. From the Cincinnati Reds, second baseman Joe Morgan. Pitcher Mike Lacasse. Representing the Houston Astros, shortstop Craig Reynolds.
Reynolds, a former Seattle Mariner.
Joe Niekro. And Joaquin Andujar. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, third baseman Ron Cey. The Montreal Expos representatives, catcher Gary Carter. Third baseman Larry Parrish. Pitcher Steve Rogers. From the New York Mets, catcher John Stearns. Outfielder Lee Mazzilli. From the Philadelphia Phillies, first baseman Pete Rose. Representing the St. Louis Cardinals, outfielder Lou Brock. First baseman Keith Hernandez. From the San Diego Padres, pitcher Gaylord Perry. And from the San Francisco Giants, outfielder Jack Clark. And now let's welcome the American League All-Stars. The manager, a Hall of Fame pitcher, and the winning 1978 World Series manager, Bob Lemon. Although unable to play tonight because of injuries, please welcome the all-time All-Star vote getter, the California Angels first baseman, Rod Carew. Leading off for the American League, a first-time All-Star, Minnesota Twins shortstop Roy Smalley.
Here's a man who's worked hard to improve each year since coming to the major leagues. Last season, his manager and uncle, Gene Mock, suggested a few hitting tips for him, and they've really helped him out.
Batting second, a lifetime 300 hitter, Kansas City Royal third baseman, George Bretz. Hitting third, the power-hitting left fielder from the division-leading California Angels, Don Baylor. Hitting in the cleanup position, one of the league's bright young superstars, Boston left fielder Jim Rice. From the Boston Red Sox, the league's leading home run hitter, center fielder Fred Lynn.
Fred Lynn is having the same kind of a year that he had in 1975 when he became the first player ever to be the most valuable player and rookie of the year in the same season. He can do it all. Diving, sliding, making the play. Fred Lynn.
Batting sixth, one of the greats of our game for 2 decades, Boston first baseman Carl Yastrzemski.
There's the senior man of the All-Star Game, his 16th selection for the American League All-Star squad. Carl's been moved to first base for this All-Star Game from the outfield. He was elected in the outfield, and this is a catch against Johnny Bench in the 1969 All-Star Game at Washington, D.C.
Hitting in the 7th position, Kansas City's hard-hitting catcher, Darrell Porter. At second base, a 2-time Gold Glove winner, Kansas City's Frank White.
This might be the American League's deepest position. Since coming to the Major League, White has been known for the magic in his glove, but last season he became a consistent hitter. He does the little things that go unnoticed to win ball games. He can steal a base, he can bunt, he can hit and run.
And the starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen, the Major League strikeout leader and the author of 4 career no-hitters, California's Nolan Ryan. Introducing the remainder of the American League All-Star squad. The American League coaches, Texas Ranger manager Pat Corrales. The manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, Roy Hartsfield. And from the Seattle Mariners, their manager, Darrell Johnson. The American League trainers, Boston's Charlie Moss. And Seattle's Gary Nicholson. Representing the Baltimore Orioles, pitcher Don Stanhouse. Outfielder Ken Singleton. From the Boston Red Sox, shortstop Rick Burleson. Pitcher Bob Stanley. From the California Angels, second baseman Bobby Grich. The catcher Brian Downing. Pitcher Mark Clear. From the Chicago White Sox, outfielder Chet Lemon. Representing the Cleveland Indians, pitcher Sid Monge. From the Detroit Tigers, left fielder Steve Kemp. Milwaukee Brewer, first baseman Cecil Cooper. Representing the New York Yankees, third baseman Greg Nettles. Pitchers Tommy John. And Ron Guidry. Outfielder Reggie Jackson. The Oakland A's, catcher, first baseman Jeff Newman. Texas Ranger pitcher Jim Kern. Toronto Blue Jay pitcher Dave Lemanchik. And from the host, Seattle Mariners, first baseman Bruce Bochy.
a tremendous thrill for that youngster, but we're in for a treat right now. Two of the greatest pitchers of all time, Hall of Famers, have been named honorary captains. Carl Hubble on the left and Lefty Gomez.
And tonight's honorary captains played in the first All-Star Game in 1933. Representing the National League is the masked man best remembered for a performance in the 1934 game when he struck out in order Hall of Famers Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin. A Hall of Famer himself, Carl Hubble. The American League's honorary captain had the distinction of starting that first All-Star game, driving in the first run and getting credit for the first of his record 3 All-Star victories. Another Hall of Famer, Lefty Gomez. And now to honor America, the award-winning Navy Sea Cadet Color Guard presents the colors of both the United States and Canada, our neighbors to the north. At the organ is Dick Kimball. Please rise for the national anthems, which will be sung by the youthful star of the original cast of the Broadway show Annie, Miss Andrea McCardle.
Away from the first pitch of the 50th All-Star Game, and with the Parkers and the Fosters and Schmidts and Linds, Yastrzemskis, plenty of people are looking for a lot of home runs. Nolan Ryan for the American League, Steve Carlton for the National League will have something to say about that, and we're going to see it all when we come back. The lineup cards have been just handed in. Bob Lemon for the American League. Lou Brock was designated by Tom Lasorda to hand in the lineup card. There he's going back to his dugout, and he was just overcome by it. Now, the umpires behind the plate. George Maloney will be behind the plate. American League. Lee Wire will be at first base. Wire is from the National League. And Nick Bremigan, an American League umpire, will be at second base. At third base will be Billy Williams from the National League. And then working the left field line, Terry Cooney, and umpiring in the right field line will be Dutch Brenner. Those are the umpires. There you see Dutch. And now we're getting ready for the ceremonial first pitch. Let's go to the PA announcer once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1979 has been designated by the United Nations as the Year of the Child. And this 50th All-Star Game is dedicated to youngsters the world over, wherever the great game of baseball is played. To underline baseball's long-standing dedication to the young people who have made the game what it is today, the ceremonial first pitch for tonight's game will be thrown by a man who for many years has been UNICEF's international ambassador to children all over the world. A man who has been a dedicated baseball fan his entire life, and who, as a working partner in the ownership of the Seattle Mariners, represents your hosts here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Major League Baseball, on behalf of the children of the world, is proud to introduce Mr. Danny Kaye.
You don't think Danny Kaye has something up his sleeve, do you?
Darrell Porter's got a problem right here, I think, folks.